Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Camille.
And I'm Kate. I'm eating ramen.
And we are
The
the
Flashers.
Flashers. We're getting better. We're
Uh-huh.
really
I got that song stuck in my head. My slurping noodle song.
slurping noodles.
That's right. I'm a slurp up these noodles. Maybe that can be also another theme song.
Yes. Throw that into the remix.
Yeah. Well, was this the second part of the crossover?
So I have no idea. So what happened to me personally was I was at the boyfriend's abode and he was like, well, what are we going to watch? And I was like, I don't really know. Don't really care. And he's like, oh, we'll watch the episodes for the crossover since I know you're not going to do it by yourself. I was like, oh, I hate you, but okay. So he's like, well, we'll start with Supergirl. And I was like, okay. So we watched Supergirl, and as many other people I had seen previously comment angrily about, was that the crossover part in the Supergirl episode was like the end credit 3-minute scene.
Oh,
It's
I was
like,
wondering how they were going to start with her. After watching The Flash, I was like, how are they going to?
right. So what they
Start with
did
that.
was they had her episode, and like at the beginning, they're having Thanksgiving dinner. You see this weird flash, which is like the portal, the vibe portal, basically, is what you're seeing.
Oh,
And then it goes away. And then a little while later in the episode, you see it again and it goes away. And then I think it happens one more time and it goes away. But no one knows what it is, right? So the episode continues with its own plot and storyline, whatever. And then in the last, like the post-credit scene or whatever, before credit scene, Barry and Cisco come through and she's like, I knew it was you guys. And he basically tells her the story, and weird little kind of relation to what's actually happening in the Flash is when they come through, Barry's like, hey, this is my friend Cisco. And Cisco was like, word friend is used lightly, and walks off. And he's like, I like your apartment.
yeah.
And basically that was it for the crossover as far as Supergirl goes. And then we watched
you have to
The
start
Flash.
somewhere. And I guess that would make sense that you would start with her since she doesn't exactly have I don't know.
So I didn't realize she's on a different Earth because I've never watched Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
So she has no
I
connection
forget.
to she doesn't have any connection to Central City or wherever the legends are.
Right.
So we watched then the Flash episode.
Mm-hmm. Were
I
they
have
so
not-
adorable?
Who?
Oh,
Barry and Kara.
Did you watch them? You said you watched that. Like, you watched that Supergirl episode with the Flash, or you watched the Flash episode? Sorry.
No, I watched the crossover Supergirl episode, but Barry was only in like the last 2 minutes of it.
Oh, I was thinking that after that you watched the Supergirl
No.
where. Okay.
That's the one and only episode of Supergirl I have seen.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't bad. She's cute.
She's
But
adorable.
super cute. I just don't think I'm ready to add another show to my repertoire.
You are.
So then that led us into the actual Flash episode. I have not watched Arrow or Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know if I need to. I assume I would need to see how the story wraps up, but if I really don't care, it really doesn't matter.
I don't think I care enough. If I cared enough about these characters, I would be watching the shows already.
Right.
So, and I can only assume that it's going to turn out somewhat okay. Unless they're,
Well, I think that was really the only reason to watch the crossover episode at all, was because it kind of called out Barry once again on the fact that he has screwed up the timeline. But we'll get into that in a minute. So beginning of the episode, being that it was a crossover, the episode, I was really confused because the episode just started, and it started with Barry and Arrow in a fight. They're battling someone you can't see. And it turns out it was like a flashback sequence, which a lot of other shows do. I'm just not used to really the Flash doing it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seemed like a really weird start to the episode because I had kind of forgotten that we were going to be seeing the Arrow and gang in the episode.
Yeah.
So you see that. You see Barry and what's-his-face fighting someone. I can't remember his real name.
Oliver,
thank you. I love that name, too. I don't know why I can never remember it. You see Barry and Oliver fighting someone. And then it cuts to earlier that day or something.
Yeah.
Where you see Wally training to be Kid Flash. And again, he's already better than Barry in like every way.
I never understand whenever they're like, training. I don't understand what they're training for. Like, you already know how to, like you're fast. Like, you got that. Like, is there anything else that you want to work on? Like, like maybe like grabbing things really fast. Or like, as you have said, like,
combat.
Yeah.
And complaining.
Yeah, is him running around like is it literally just like track practice? Like
Well, I feel like the only like value was when Barry was training Jesse Quick, and he was like, well, you just have to be able to have that sense of pre-recognition, which ironic.
right, because there's like a pipe thing. Dude, if I was
she
like
trips over it or something.
If I was there, I would just be like throwing crap at them like a wrench.
Dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, exactly. I would be just like that. Sorry, Kid Flash, if you can't dodge this wrench, well, you're still better than Barry.
You're still better.
Barry wasn't dodging wrenches until he first got his powers.
But that's the thing, like Barry got his powers and then he didn't have anyone to necessarily train him. He just, like you said, just ran a lot and then kind of figured things out until bad guys showed up and like Jay Garrick showed him how to throw the lightning or whatever. That was really the only.
Yeah. And we haven't seen that in a long time.
Well, we do see it in this episode though.
Oh, was I not paying attention? I probably wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, we see that Wally, again, already better than Barry, and the gang's all there, and Cisco ain't not having any of Barry's nonsense or friendship or anything.
And that was my first note. Cisco not happy, and I like it. I like he's not happy with Barry.
Well, because I feel like previously they alluded to, they had Cisco starting out as kind of being angry at Barry for not saving his brother. He didn't know that Barry was kind of the cause.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I think we commented on that, or I commented on that previously. Like his whole kind of hurt and anger just seemed to really dissipate quickly after they kind of talked it out a little bit.
And they're like roomies.
Right.
Not that Cisco seemed super happy about that, but it was still like...
Yeah, like, sure, fine, let's move on. So now that Cisco's found out that Barry may have directly or indirectly sped up the process of Dante dying, depending on how you want to look at it, or directly
on if you ask Iris or not.
Right. Very true. Although, we'll see later, Oliver had a very similar theory. So, but
yeah, but he's a little spoiled rich boy, so
who cares what he has to think? So the basic crux of this episode being the crossover episode series event being aliens versus superheroes, which, I mean, Kara is an alien, so I really don't know why they went with that title, is the aliens show up. A ship crashes in...
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, did I miss something?
Well, for me. Okay. Okay, I don't remember. Oh, when HR is talking, he has like the presentation about
the museum.
Labs. And Barry was like, hey, like, I know you're trying to figure out your value. And I was just like, I wanted to punch through the TV and punch Barry, like Savitar style. Like, it
was very condescending.
Yeah, and like, if you'll see on my notes, I don't know if you can see, I'm not really sure. Oh, well, okay. No. So I put HR trying to figure out his value, ? And then I was like, his value? Like, I questioned it, and then I underlined his. I was like, seriously, Barry? You're going to say that to HR, who has literally contributed more as an Earth 19 novelist or whatever Earth he's from than your girlfriend has ever done in 3 seasons of The Flash. Like, I'm not even it's not even Iris. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's like that person in the office who always just seems to get like a little credit, but she doesn't really do anything. And you're like, are you kidding me here? Like I showed up early. Like, what? Like, every day this week. And
she's always late. What happened?
Yeah.
Why is she getting ribbons?
She never even wears, like, what's in the dress code. Like,
oh, speaking of dress codes, you're going to love me for this one because Iris totally looked like a hooker.
Thank you.
Did you see that? I'm sorry.
I didn't write it in because I was like, okay, people are probably getting tired of me bashing her outfits. But I was like,
no, I don't know what the wardrobe department.
Well, because her first look, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, I like that. Like, it was like this, like, it was just like a black and flowery blouse with some black pants. Like, it was just very classy looking. And then the next scene, she looks like a hooker, and I was just like, what? Like,
yeah, she had like thigh-high boots, a short black dress, a choker, or was the choker part of the dress?
It was part of the dress, and then it was like
and then a jacket.
V-cut.
Yeah, and then like a Scarlet Witch jacket type looking thing.
Oh, was it? I thought it was like
well, no, she had the black dress, and then no, I think it was a jacket over the dress.
Oh.
Anyway, she looked like a streetwalker, and I'm sorry. It just seemed really weird.
juvenile and like just weird and just like
Well, I
Forever
hope a hooker doesn't.
21. Like I don't know, like
I don't hope hookers and juveniles go together.
well,
But,
I guess I mean like like Instagram model, like you know what I
like the
mean?
girl who's 13, but all of her pictures, she tries to look 21
Yeah, and like,
type of thing.
yeah, and like has like the super like drawn in eyebrows and like
Yeah, it just, and I usually mostly like everything she wears. I mean,
yeah.
even the ones you've criticized before, I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't that bad.
Well,
I
like
mean, probably not appropriate for the office, but yeah, it
right,
wasn't that
right.
bad.
Like I don't dislike her clothing. Like I think she wears I feel like I would wear some of the things that she would have that I would have worn, but I would have worn them whenever I was, like 20, like in college, some of them, like with the length and stuff, maybe if I wasn't still having some postpartum hips, I don't know. So like I agree. Like I usually like her clothing.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're office appropriate, but I do like them. But this one, yeah, just looked like did not look good.
Yeah, it wasn't. I liked the jacket, but the whole outfit just she did not look great. And it was, I don't know. I hope someone else can agree with that who's listening, because it just was kind of glaring to me. I'm glad you agree, but I kind of knew you would agree anyway.
But I didn't. But I chose not to write it down. I was really proud of myself because I was just like,
You're like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it to myself though.
Yeah, I'm gonna swallow it because I was still probably like reeling from the whole Barry saying like trying to figure out his value.
Oh yeah.
Because genuinely though, he really has contributed a lot of things. Like I mean, he's the one that was like, yeah, hello, Cold, Killer Frost and Captain Cold. Like maybe you guys could use the same, and like he had like the rope and
But those were the ideas that we weren't sure were actually his ideas.
But they were.
And then he tried to convince other people they were their ideas. I don't know. He's weird.
He is weird, but he still contributes more than Iris, who just stands there and I'm not even sure if she's reacting to anything or not. She just tells Barry what he wants to hear and like, oh, it's not your fault that Cisco's brother's dead.
Not your fault at all. So there's a spaceship at some point crashes, and we see an official looking person who I think is from the Arrow, I suppose.
Yes.
And because I had no idea who she was.
I had to use some
she
context
knows
clues.
Barry shows up. She knows Barry, and they're like, well, let's go talk. And basically, I guess she kind of points them towards Oliver. I don't know. It kind of confused me, that whole part. But
I wasn't paying attention. I remember that much.
Well, so I was watching, I will say, I was watching this with someone else in the room for the first time. Usually I watch this by myself. So I feel like I was kind of like trying to sneakily take my notes because I didn't want him to see what my notes said. So I feel like I missed a lot of the action that was happening because I don't know who the alien lady was from Arrow or what she said to Barry about the aliens. All I know, next thing I know, Barry is going to get, what's his face, Oliver.
Well, okay, so I was distracted because I think she called them the Dominators, and then I thought of Never Been Kissed, and they were like, you've seen that movie, right? Never Been Kissed?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
More.
And they're like, we're the Denominators, like the calculus team.
Oh, the calculus, the mathlete.
Yeah. They call themselves the Denominators, and so that's why now call the aliens are the Denominators.
Oh my goodness.
Not even on purpose. I think I wrote it down on my notes again. I was like, oh, Denominators, and I was like, oh wait, no, they're Dominators. But I still thought that was a really dumb name. Did you like that name, the Dominators?
I honestly didn't pay that any attention whatsoever, to be honest.
I probably shouldn't have.
Well, I figure if it brought up that kind of reaction from you, then it was probably worth noting. And I'm a huge Drew Barrymore fan, so I'm surprised I couldn't even have made that reference. So kudos to you, madam.
Thank you. I love that movie. So I think she is in like Star Labs, and then she's like, oh yeah, like you don't even like these are aliens, like you don't need to mess with this. We got this. And then he was just like,
I do remember she says something about like, did they say they were coming in peace, and then they tried to like take over.
I think they were, I don't even remember. And like I said, I watched it yesterday. I did better with the Killer Frost one, probably because the Killer Frost one was much more interesting. So my comprehension skills were a little bit more on point. Yeah. Because I wasn't paying attention to this. The Dominator part just wrecked my brain. I was like, that's so
all I know is I wrote down. So I think she's talking about how they've come previously to Earth. and they thought they were on a peaceful mission, and they didn't come in peace. But all I could think of, the Twilight Zone episode where the aliens show up and they're like, oh, we come in peace, we want to give all your people all these things, and they give them a book that they're trying to decipher the whole episode, and at the end the woman was like, it's a cookbook, how to serve people is a cookbook. No, this is what my brain does. But that's what I wrote down, it's a cookbook, because that's when she was talking about them, that's what I thought about. It's a good episode, you should watch it. I love the Twilight Zone.
I'll watch that when you watch Supergirl.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, while Barry goes and to literally pick up Oliver.
Yeah, because he was just like, she told him not to do anything, and then he was just like, he's got like this like weird, sad puppy. Well, no, like he has like this like sad, wait, what complex? Sorry.
Savior complex?
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Like he's got like this like sad puppy like whisper thing going on. Like, I don't know, guys. But I know she said not to, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, why aren't you talking normal anymore? Like, I get it. Like, is this your guilt voice?
I'm not. Gotta whisper. I don't know. I didn't know what you meant by puppy whispers, but now I get it.
Yeah, like I got a shorter do in a more serious voice. My hair's shorter, and my guilt is longer. So I'm gonna
whisper it all. Goodness, you are no whispering angel.
You are not.
Harrison Wells.
You are not. I don't see those blue eyes. Yeah. But then I was just like, so yeah, he goes and he gets Oliver, and
which, by the way, so we cut to Oliver and
we have
Diggs.
The same note. I bet we have the same note.
I think we might. We're on it this week. So he goes to find Diggs and Oliver, and we see them fighting a bad guy, slightly losing because they're about to get shot, both of them.
Yeah.
Because Arrow has arrows and everyone else has a freaking gun, but whatever. I guess
and
it
a weird
works on their show. I guess it works on their show. I don't know. I don't watch it. And Barry goes in and swoops them both up and takes them to Central City and leaves the bad guy.
Oh,
is that what you're going to say?
No,
because that really bothered me. Like, he goes and he picks up Oliver and Diggs, and he doesn't take out the bad guy for them which they say afterwards. He's like, we've been tracking this guy for weeks. What?
Here's why I didn't make that note, because I didn't see Diggs there fighting with Arrow. Because, again, I wasn't paying attention. And so I thought that Barry had swooped in and got Oliver and the bad guy. And I thought that Diggs was the bad guy throwing up because I didn't see his face. I just saw, to me, that I thought that was going to be really funny that, like, they're just arguing and the bad guy's just, like, curling. Yeah, like, I thought that was hilarious. But it wasn't true. That's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened.
And then I was trying to figure out what Diggs does, because I was like, okay, he's got this stupid, like, helmet and a gun. What does he contribute? But then I was like, well, what does Arrow really contribute?
But Diggs is funny. He's probably the funniest thing. If I watched the Arrow, the little bit I've seen of him, I assume he's the funniest person on the Arrow other than Felicity, just kind of being awkwardy science girl.
Yeah, I haven't even seen. Well, I feel like I watched more than you, and I still did not gather any.
It's just always his reactions to Barry is like he's like, oh, that's fast, or like him throwing up, or when Cisco vibes or whatever, he's like, wow, that's cool. Anytime anyone does anything supery that he can't do himself because he works with the Arrow and he's not used to real superpowers, he's like, oh, wow, that's cool.
I was like a Caitlin Snow burn.
I know, right? Like how I sneak that in, too. Yeah.
No, my note was like, okay, so they get sick, but Iris doesn't get sick. Is he really sweeping Iris off that often or saving her that often that she's just like not even fazed by it ever?
Maybe she doesn't get vertigo.
That's her contribution.
Yeah. Diggs just has really bad motion sickness all.
Oh. And then I guess my next note is that we see Supergirl, because I was really happy. But first was that, Cisco was like, we're not friends. And I was just like,
Yes, so that's basically the scene that played at the end of the Supergirl episode.
Yeah. And that makes sense, because in the Flash, he was like, this might take some time. Like, it might, I may not get it right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we find out that Cisco, so when they do that, I'm kind of wondering why Cisco, again, suddenly great at time jumping, and doesn't get a nosebleed anymore? Like, is he not having many strokes anymore, or is it just the first time?
No, it was what Caitlin said was which I thought was really weird and didn't make sense to me at all. Was that he God, what did she call it? It was basically like him jumping like so close, like vibing, not into like another world or like another dimension, just doing it within like their own earth, like a few blocks away. Like that's what did it for some reason. I don't know.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like she said something about like short something. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But
well, I was always bothered by the fact that she said mini stroke and shook it off like a mini stroke isn't a big effing deal. Like it's a stroke. You just had a stroke.
Yeah, take mini aspirin.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be fine. Just have a headache. So at some point we now have Felicity in the mix because, nerd stuff, nerd teams unite, and she is super cute. I do like her. If I ever watched Arrow, she would probably be the only reason.
Felicity.
Isn't that her name? The science girl from Arrow?
Yes. I'm always trying to figure out, because I'll read stuff every once in a while, and there's like a thing where people don't want Oliver and Felicity to be together, and so they have like mad hate.
Probably, but that's like with every TV show. They never want the hero to be with anyone because it always, as we see, it sometimes messes everything up.
Yeah. Well, I think that they were more like wanting it to be the girl that died, Black Canary, maybe, that they wanted instead. I don't know. Whatever. But there may or may not be like a Felicity Iris thing going on where it's like, oh, everything Oliver does is for Felicity, but I don't really know.
Right.
Were you paying attention to me?
Yeah, no, everything Oliver does is for Felicity. Totally. Question me. But so I don't know. I think my notes kind of get dicey because I feel like I was just being very reactionary at this point, because what we basically see is the superhero team coming together, and you have Kara there now, Supergirl, you have Oliver and Kara. Oliver's team. Kara, sorry, whatever.
No, I forget you don't watch it.
I don't watch it. I'm sorry.
There's like a running thing in Supergirl where Calista Flockhart, when she was her boss, would be like, I don't remember what she would call. She may have called her Kara, but she would like always call her a different name, and she would be like, it's Kara. Like, so I was just, and then you didn't get it because you don't watch it. Whatever.
Sorry. But then so you get all the supers coming together, and the Legends of Tomorrow people show up at some point. And then we find out that Iris has a crush on Oliver. When she finds out that he's Green Arrow, she's like, "Ugh, that just makes him even sexier." And Barry's like, "Really?
Oh gosh.
Oh, you're my girlfriend."
Well,
did Cisco say something? Because all I have down is Cisco burn.
I think he's just been like, I think he just has a lot of shade.
Yeah, the whole episode he was, avoiding Barry with a vengeance. And
I
everything
think
he came out was snark.
Yeah, which would be great if Captain Cold was here. Snark.
But we do find out why Captain Cold isn't.
He's dead.
Yeah.
And then Barry had a very minimum reaction as far as I'm concerned, because I love Captain Cold. I think he's great.
But can I say, with the Legends, I have a weird crush on Victor Garber, who plays the other half of that one guy who can, what's his name? Flame on dude.
Firestorm.
Yes, Firestorm. I love Victor Garber. So great.
Is he gay in real life?
He is gay. Yes, he is. Which made me very sad when I learned that, because I know he's like old enough to be my grandpa, but I held out hope.
I adore him. I think I more adore him in a, grandpa, like father admiration than you, but yes, I do adore Victor Garber. I think the shade that you're talking about was, I don't know what Cisco said. Again, I missed it. I don't know what I was doing during these notes. But I think Cisco didn't want Barry to be the leader.
Oh, okay. That came a little bit.
Or was I wrong? Because all I have is Oliver Queen is annoying.
Well, I'd also put, so serious Oliver.
Yeah, because whenever he was like, I think whenever I had was basically like he was, telling Supergirl, like, when I trained him, I didn't hold back. I shot him with an arrow. You can't hold back either.
She was like, okay.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Why I love her, because she's just like, you understand that you shoot arrows, and I literally have heat vision.
Laser eyes. I have laser eyes, and you have an arrow.
I'm literally invincible, and you're bossing me around. Although I wish I had that confidence, I guess, where I do the bare minimum and I can just boss whoever around. But
I did. Really, I found it very, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. He was just annoying, and I was like, poor man's Batman. With the seriousness and
not even, I mean, very poor, because I'm not even a huge Batman fan, and I would still give him props over Arrow any day.
yeah, I
I
kind
mean,
of
at least
appreciate.
Batman has cool gadgets.
Yeah, I appreciate that you are not a huge Batman fan because I don't necessarily
Thank
like him
you.
either.
You know, he's just, without all that fancy stuff, he's a dude. Like, he has
Yeah,
nothing, there's nothing, and then people are always like, well, he has combat training, he can fight. Yeah, so? I can shoot him. I could stab him, and he'd die. So, I'm sorry, I'll take Superman over Batman any day.
and I personally have issue with his sidekick being a child that he
A
is
young
not
boy.
formally adopted and decided to parent.
I'm pretty sure that's why they cast Chris O'Donnell in the movie back then, because they didn't want that weird, creepy vibe.
Good move. Yeah.
We'll make him early 20s. Oh.
Apparently there was a comic scene where Green Lantern calls Batman out for having a teenager as a psychic. I don't know if it was true or not, but I saw it, but you don't know if it was just like fan art or
Yeah.
but yeah. So okay, I think I'm getting this right. Because I haven't watched any of the Superman movies, but Adam, he played Superman in the first, like, modern, I guess you could say, modern post-Christopher Reeve Superman movie, right?
Is that
Routh?
Brandon Routh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's him.
So I was like, was it weird for Adam, aka Bad Superman, to see his would-be cousin Kara?
Killing it, right?
like that kind of sucks. Like, oh, you played Superman, but your movie didn't do very good, so
Now you're here.
You're Adam.
Oh,
But that's, and might I just say, like, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine when superheroes place other superheroes.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Although it worked out really, really well for Ryan Reynolds. I have to give him that. It was a big difference.
Well, it's like they get this redo. So Ben Affleck was Daredevil. Let me just do a
Right, that was
redo. I'm
horrible.
gonna go from Marvel to the DC universe. And be Batman. And then Chris Evans was the Flame guy from Fantastic Four.
Johnny Storm, yeah.
Yes. All I could hear was Flame on whenever you said that about Firestorm. So, and then he was like, well, Captain America would probably be a better choice. And although barely with the first movie with the laser shooting Hydra, aka Nazis. And then who was the other one?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. Going
goes from Green Lantern to
Deadpool.
Deadpool, yeah. Which has to be the best of all the transformations, quite honestly.
I didn't see Deadpool. Yeah. I was, being just a wife, I got, cast aside for getting to watch superhero movies. My husband went with his stepfather instead, and so I was not invited. I got to watch the baby because, I don't like superhero stuff or anything. So, I know.
Points off.
For sure. Yeah, so that was my thought. Was like, well, that sucks for you, Brandon.
So you have the whole team there now, and everyone's like being introduced to everyone, and they try to make Barry the leader, and he turns out to be absolutely horrible at it.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know, what struck me odd was that while they're training with Supergirl, they are firing at her because she's their alien, which seems a little biased, if you ask me, a little bigoted, whatever. Oh, she's invincible, let's shoot at her, or whatever.
Fighting aliens.
Well, here's the thing, so like everything they're doing is like, of course, bouncing off of her. Like, she's kicking their butts without even trying.
Yeah, she's just like floating in the air.
Floating, like, okay, whatever, that tickled. I was like, why not just send her? Like, you don't even need anyone else. Just send that chick. She'll take out the aliens and we'll all go home. That seems like the best idea at this point.
Especially whenever you have like half of them are just human beings.
Right.
Then you got like Little Arrow. I don't know what her name is. You got helmet gun Diggs guy. I can't get over his stupid helmet. Like, what do you think?
I'm sure it serves some sort of purpose that we just don't know about.
Yeah, you might as well have Joe out there. Like, I'm a cop. I can do cop things. I'm start doing more cop things. But yeah, and then Cisco could help technically.
Which is weird because they didn't try to utilize Cisco or Caitlin at all.
Like,
or
and that,
Wally.
I was hoping they would help. I mean, Wally, I kind of get because it's like, well, you haven't really like done anything, and like this is kind of like like a big one, like maybe you could just like start with like a bank robbery or something. And you know, to be fair, whenever he did come and help, he kind of screwed up. So
no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I have a point to make about that, in which he did
We'll get into
screw
that
up.
later.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I was hoping that, you know, Caitlin was gonna suit up, and she did not.
Well, I think at some point they made a comment about, you know, having enough people or numbers or whatever. And I'm like, you have like 2 extra supers right there, people with actual powers.
Mm-hmm.
And you like not even ask them to help. Or, like, I'm sure they would have said no, but Caitlin definitely would have said no. But it's nice to be asked. Just saying. Acknowledge the fact that I have power.
But also, Caitlin, like, I need you to like stop being such a baby about this. Like they're literally like aliens taking over the world, and you're worried about becoming evil, like for a little bit, because clearly you were able to. You could go back, like you went back, you know,
right, to being a good person.
Like maybe take that chance if the whole world could get, you know, dominated by the dominators. I don't know. That's just me. Whatever.
It was a little disappointing, but I think that would have happened anything after, you know, badass Caitlin episode. So
yeah. But I also, so then next thing I wrote was that, you know, Cisco is talking about how he doesn't really like Barry, or Felicity's trying to talk about how he shouldn't be hard on him or whatever. And Cisco's just like, newsflash, Barry screws up. So, but it was weird because, you know, Felicity knows that the timeline is screwed up, but he doesn't know that she knows.
Okay, yeah.
Because she was the first person that knew, actually. So,
but then everything kind of unravels after that, because Victor Garber and whatever that other guy's name is. I feel really bad for not knowing their names, but I really don't watch.
I keep thinking he's Cyborg because in Smallville.
Why? Because he's black, Kate? Because he's black. Because he's black. So he's Cyborg. Yes, he's Cyborg.
It could be partly that, but also, it probably, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Cyborg is black, so.
He's pretty cool, too, so.
Yeah.
The Firestorm.
Having to mesh with somebody else, like, that's just weird. Like, I can only use my powers if somebody's inside me. That's weird.
But we do see Victor Garber start to get flashes, no pun intended, of his life. And so he goes to try to see his wife, where, you know, they're in Central City. And it turns out, for some reason, he takes Caitlin with him, I guess because he senses there's something going on with her, as they're both scientists and they have scientist type spidey sense.
Did they know each other well, though? I can't remember, because her husband was his first Firestorm partner.
Well, I think that's kind of the connection. Is like, oh, we both kind of lost something, or blah 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 blah.
Yeah. In science.
And yeah, so he goes. This is after he has revealed to Barry that, oh, that's what it was. There was this recording of Barry from the future telling past Barry that he can't be trusted. Present Barry could not be trusted in this moment. I totally missed where that tape came from or how they found it, so.
I have no idea either, because I was totally distracted by the fact that it looked like an iPod. And I was just like, is that an iPod? Like, what is...
from the future?
Yeah, like, I was just like, that looks like an iPod, but it's from the future. Okie doke.
Yeah, so you have future Barry telling someone in the past that, or there in the future, not to trust past Barry, which is the Barry we're looking at right now. And Barry has to admit that he changed the timeline.
Okay, but...
And Oliver kind of gets mad and then suddenly isn't mad anymore.
He's like, oh, well, we got other things to focus on. But can I just say, like, if you're going to send a message from the future, I get it. Maybe you're not trying to, like, mess up anything or, like, say anything, like, too explicit that could change the timeline again. But saying don't trust present Barry, whenever he's not really doing anything wrong other than trying to not let aliens take over the world, is really, like, could you give me, like, a little bit more? Like, is there a reason why? Like, are you just referring to, like, at lunch break, he actually, like, took somebody's, like, sack lunch and, like, lied about it? Like what is it?
He never paid Cisco back that $50 that he borrowed.
Yeah. But, yeah.
So after that exchange, we see Firestorm, Victor Garber, take Caitlin to his house. And we see one of the, I'm assuming some sort of consequence of the time travel. Because he's having visions of his wife. He goes to his house and they suddenly have a daughter.
Yeah.
And he gets very awkward and, like, runs away.
I thought he got emotional and was like, yes, you are my daughter. And so I was like,
I think he was trying not to let on that something there wasn't right. And so he suddenly was like, yeah, of course you are my daughter. We got to go now, though. Bye.
Oh yes, say something to your mom. Yeah. Where was I even watching this episode? Because I really was like, thought I was, because I'm missing a lot.
So we end up back at the warehouse where all the supers are training. And their training consists of getting their butts kicked by Supergirl, basically.
Yeah.
Which leads me to wonder why at any point didn't they just say, why don't we just send her? So yeah, I was really wondering why they just wouldn't send Supergirl in to handle everything, considering she's an alien and invulnerable.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seemed like just kind of a waste of time. Like just have everyone else's backup, which I guess would kind of be the case anyway with but still. So yeah, they're training and she's like, kicking butt, which is kind of funny because she's also kind of, super nice about it and
yeah, adorable.
But
I am curious to see how they end up defeating the aliens because I haven't watched. The Flash is the only one that I watched of this crossover. So I'm like, oh well, how do these people?
How all these humans defeat aliens with their training. So yeah, at some point during this whole training sequence, which I don't know if did we mention that we now have confirmation that Barry has been left all of the wealth and everything from Star Labs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he has a warehouse. Star Labs suddenly have empty warehouses all over the place where they can go and train. And he makes a comment that, well, this is just one of the Star Labs things that I was.
Oh yeah, he's like, I guess I own it. Yeah,
I guess I own it. But then I'm still like, how long before the Star Labs money runs out? Like, because now you're unemployed, Barry, and that's an extra paycheck for somebody.
Yeah.
And you keep adding people to the team. So
I wonder. I would like to think that Iris is not getting paid for anything.
I would have to assume like doing hero work would have to be your primary source of income for you to get paid. So like obviously Cisco and Caitlin are on the payroll because that's all they do. Like they're not doing day jobs.
Yeah, and they were previously employed with Star Labs, so they're already,
Gladys already has their file.
Gladys, yeah, the IRS knows where to send their W-2s and all that.
Right.
So,
and then you would eventually have to add Wally if he's going to start fighting crime.
Yeah.
So, and plus he's a college kid. He needs some money. He's student loans.
You know what he should do? He needs to go and work at Jitters, just like his sister did. He needs to know what it's like to have a humble beginning.
Goodness.
As you work through your dissertations.
He was racing for pinks and money out on the street to help his mom not die. So I think he deserves to have like a cushy job where he's, running around and literally running around in the page.
I feel like risking your life isn't really a cushy job. Like I feel like maybe making coffee and getting like a free muffin here and there is pretty cushy.
If Barry can do it, I feel like Wally would be a lot better. Even though his other life proves otherwise, but he just didn't have enough training. That's all.
Yep. He didn't have, as we will see later, H.R. Wells, the novelist, too.
Yeah. So Wally asked HR to, at some point, we see HR and Wally talking at Star Lab, and Wally has asked HR of all the people in the world he could ask to help train him. He asked HR to do, and I'm like, dude, HR has no training. Like, he has no skills.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, no, let's not say no skills. He's not Iris West.
He's like one step up from Iris West, and they are both writers, so I don't even.
Yeah, he doesn't have relevant experience other than perhaps an advanced technological Earth that he is from, but even that's not gonna help.
Yeah, it's not gonna. So, back to warehouse scene that Barry owns.
Yeah.
We have Cisco confront Barry because Cisco has found the iPod.
AKA the recording device from the future and knows exactly that it's a recording device from the future.
And he basically calls Barry out on the fact that future Barry has warned them about past Barry, and he was wondering if he was ever going to reveal this to anyone or if it was just going to be another in a long line of lies and secrets.
Yeah. And Barry's just like, hey, we'll talk about this later or something, and then just like trying to like calm Cisco down so he doesn't have to really deal with that just yet. And the warehouse, it's empty, therefore it echoes, and also everybody is standing like 2 inches behind you, like
even if you whisper, we could hear you.
Also, Supergirl, she has super hearing, like, and everybody else is just relatively young and therefore can hear.
Victor Garber is the only one who might not have caught that the first time, and he already knew the secret.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. But yeah, and so then he has to tell everybody that there was a different life before this, so whoops. And then which, by the way, Felicity is still saying, like, completely, like, mums the word. Like, she is not saying, like, yeah, I knew this.
She's a good secret keeper. Like, you would want her if Voldemort was coming after you.
I think I would be the same way. I'd be like, I don't know shit.
Hey, nobody tell me nothing.
I am just working on these computers. I do not. Your problem, sir. But yeah, and then you find out that Diggs finds out that he had a daughter at one point and not the son that he now has. So.
And I'm confused. He seemed very, very upset by that. And I'm like, it's not like you don't have a kid anymore. You still have one.
Yeah.
It's just a different gender. So I don't know what you're getting so bent out of shape about, unless you were just really pumped about the gender of your previous, like your hypothetical.
I think it's just the feeling of loss, I guess. Just being like, oh, like there was this other child that existed that was mine, and now their existence is no more. And like, just, I guess, knowing that as a parent, like being like, wait, I had a child? Like, what? That was like, I understand that. I'd probably be super pissed. Like you got rid of my child. Like, like, sure, like there's another one, but still, like, one got eliminated from this time because of you. Like,
I can see that. That makes a little bit more sense than,
just
from random anger over seemingly nothing.
Yeah. Coming in with that parental guidance for you.
Expertise from the parent side.
Not an expert.
So at some point it's decided that Barry ultimately can't be trusted because of the recording, and everyone kind of gets into this big row about whether or not Barry should go with them, if maybe he double crosses them during the fight with the aliens. And Oliver,
sorry, real quick, I forgot to say this, but I don't know if you noticed this, but whenever Barry is having to apologize to people, because he just keeps having to apologize
over and over.
Yeah, like he just looks like he's on this apology tour, like a celebrity does, where they do something that's controversial, but they probably really were totally fine with the fact that they made this decision, and that they have to apologize to look good to the public. And so I was just like, man, he looks like he really is just so tired of having to apologize to people, and like, just like, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. You did have a daughter. I know
it was wrong.
Kill me now. I'm so tired of doing this. Like,
but still, totally deserve. Like, wish Killer Frost could have been there. We're like, yeah, you did.
Let me just tell you everything that everybody's thinking, Barry, because they're still being way too gentle with you. Also, here's an icicle to the eye.
Don't worry, I was a baby doctor in the baby eye doctor in the other life. I'm sure I can fix it.
But you know what? I don't remember because you messed up the timeline.
You deserve nothing.
So you know what? Here goes the other eye. Good luck running now.
I feel like the results would be somewhat the same.
Yeah, probably.
So they decided at some point they decide that Barry is not to be trusted. He has to be left behind in the big battle. Oliver, for some reason, I mean, their bromance is so strong because he's willing to like scrap the whole mission just to let Barry play along. And it basically becomes Oliver and Barry staying behind because Oliver's like, well, if Barry's not going, I'm not going with my arrows. And they're like, right. I'm like, dude, they have Supergirl. They literally don't need you. Like, bye. And then they were talking about, being short on numbers or something. And I'm like, you have literally 3 other supers with actual powers. You have Caitlin, Cisco, and Wally, if anyone ever decides to give Wally a flippin' chance. Like, you have 3 other people who can go and make up for the 2 people being left behind, one of which has no real power.
Yeah, that would be the Flash, right? No,
right. Yeah, exactly. Meaning Barry and the Arrow.
No, they have those 3. So Caitlin, Barry, and Cisco. But then also I just keep thinking, like, guys, you could have gotten Superman and Martian Manhunter. But all right, whatever.
Sure, whatever. Just keep using the 3 people with no actual powers. That's cool too, I guess.
Yeah, arrows. That's helpful in medieval times.
So now we get the big battle, or what's supposed to be the big battle, because by jumping ahead, the supers who are going to fight.
They go to
the warehouse.
Was it another warehouse?
Central City. It's a port town. Warehouses
Obviously.
everywhere.
Where do you imagine Central City being?
Like Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Like just kind of waterfront.
I always
Kind
think
of
there's water.
It always seems to be dark and gloomy or about to rain. Maybe like central Seattle, but I guess that would cut out the water.
They should do a Grey's Anatomy flash.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
has there been any, like, I don't know. I guess there hasn't been as much rain or snow to make it be a Seattle location, but I just feel like it would be somewhere along.
There was rain when Barry left his lab.
Oh, and then when he got electrocuted. So there's been some rainy.
No. Whenever he was leaving the lab after he quit.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like, yeah.
Symbolic.
Yeah. And then it rains in the next episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why. I'm just like always imagining it being near one of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
I don't know why. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like in Minnesota. And that does not make sense at all.
Maybe in Maine, maybe like a fishing town in Rhode Island, Maine.
With the warehouses.
Yeah, all these places, all these like fictional places are just mostly warehouse.
Yeah.
And abandoned. So yeah, they go to a warehouse and the aliens have the president hostage, and dun dun dun, turns out to be a big old switcheroo trick because the aliens use their mind control powers to turn the hero into the villain.
Mm-hmm. And they also disintegrate the president.
They do, which, you know, I guess
Whoops.
that's it sucks.
Never
for
been
that
disintegrated
president.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks for him.
But yeah, and then so they get like red foreheaded and even Supergirl, which is unfortunate because then obviously you have like a very powerful being that is able to get, I guess, hypnotized or whatever, that mind controlled. So
yeah,
unfortunate.
Showing the aliens have some pretty high level mental capability,
but will somehow still be defeated by the Arrow or something. I don't even know. I should watch. But I won't. And yes,
assume they get defeated.
Yeah.
And everyone was happy.
Right. Well, yeah. So then I guess at some point we flash back to Barry and
Olive.
Yes, I just went through two O names in my head and it was Oscar and Owen and I was like, those are neither right. So Oscar. Yeah, and then I guess are they in Star Labs? Because I'm like,
they are, I believe they're outside of Star Lab, because Wally at some point comes out.
Well, no, because they flashed that article that Iris had written.
Okay.
And he's
so
like,
they are in Star Labs. Yeah.
Yeah. So how close is this warehouse to Star Labs? But I guess Flash could just drag him and be like, yeah, let me show you this newspaper article real quick.
Let me carry you.
So I feel like there would not be newspaper articles. I don't know. Newspaper is a dying medium. And I just feel like years from now, it's probably going to be completely dead, which is unfortunate. But
maybe Iris's dissertation saved the newspaper game. It single-handedly breathed new life into printed press.
That is good news for Rory Gilmore, let me tell you. Because that is like the opposite of that plot.
Oh, haven't watched it.
You haven't. Hopefully that didn't give too much away. I don't think it did. As long as I don't tell you what the last 4 words are, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could get it. We'll discuss that one on another day because I could.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he's like, yeah, Iris's name used to be there. Now it's somebody else's, and I was just like, you messed up her career. That's like the one thing that she sort of had, but
yeah, so we don't know if maybe Iris dead or has nothing to do with Barry in the future, doesn't have anything to do with newspaper writing in the future. There's just so many different reasons as to why I may not be on the paper that was originally presented by
Iris was Allen.
Yeah, but we found out about the newspaper that's in the room where the original HR, who was Theobald on
like season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am wondering all of a sudden, because I text you this randomly, that Iris's clothes seem to be getting tighter and tighter. So now I'm like, oh, like, are Iris's clothes so different because that was an effect of the timeline? Like,
she is way more scandalous timeline.
Yeah, like maybe she finally, and that's probably why she doesn't have her name because they finally fired her for being inappropriate.
Your dress code, ma'am. It's we know we're all loosey goosey here in Central City, but we're not that loose.
You're fired.
And you're always late for work.
Yeah. I actually got in trouble for my clothes one time whenever I first started working.
Scandalous.
I know. It was really upsetting because I would have never tried to been inappropriate or anything like that. Like, just 19 and dumb. Yeah.
All right, so we have the supers show up after being mind melded or whatever you want to call it by the alien, and they begin to attack Barry and Wally, which is kind of been the aliens. I'm sorry, Barry and Olive, which was seems to have been the aliens' plan the whole time.
Where we come to from the first part of the episode, where you start off and you're like, oh, Barry and Oliver.
Yeah, the weird opening.
Yeah, they're getting attacked by the regular aliens, but really it's the heroes.
Yes.
Yep.
And they're losing horribly because you have Barry, who on a good day is somewhat fast, can't fight, and a dude who's Robin.
But is the rich.
Is rich,
not giving to the poor. Probably. He might, I don't know.
Yeah, so they're up against everyone on the team, and they're getting their butts kicked, which leads to our good man, Wally, jumping in to help save the day. And you know what? Had he not come in when he did, Barry would be toast. That's all I'm going to say, because he was surrounded. And Wally came in and knocked all them fools out. And, he did his little victory dance, unfortunately, and got knocked out himself. But I really feel like it's not his fault. That was Supergirl. Like, really, he wasn't going to be able to take out Supergirl anyway.
One, don't come, good for you. You came in and, hit and run. But you didn't really hit and run. You, hit and then stood and smiled and gawked at your brilliance. And I was just like, what are you doing? Like, of course you're going to get hit, you idiot. You're just standing there smiling in the middle of a freaking battle.
I feel like that he took that one from the Barry Allen playbook, though. I feel like Barry made that mistake probably more than one when he started. So I don't know why Wally's getting all this hate that I've been hearing and seeing from different people, because he did good. Okay, he did.
Is it just me? Are other people saying that he stood there like an idiot?
One or two other people were like, yeah, he screwed up. Why was he even there? He did more harm than good. Which, no, he didn't. He didn't do more harm than good.
He was extra dead weight that Oliver had to carry around.
Well, so let's be honest, Oliver wasn't going to do much anyway. Okay. That was Oliver's fault. Oliver could have rested him somewhere safe, or had Barry run him inside. I mean, come on, teamwork, y'all. What has happened?
I don't know. Maybe
Oliver takes off with him down. Just trying to beat up my boy Wally, and I'm not having it. I am not saying that him coming in and helping wasn't good. It was, but then standing was not. Just standing in the middle of a battle, not a good idea. First time. Okay, everyone has to mess up the first time, and then they get better. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if I was in a battle, even if it was my first one, I wouldn't stand in the middle. I would move.
Oh, whatever. You don't know.
I don't
know at all.
You just would think that maybe your mind would move a bit faster if your body is moving fast. Maybe your mind could also do that and think, this isn't smart.
I'm just saying Barry would have made the same.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, I mean, it was better than, Oliver having to run down dark hallways with him. And then, oh, look, I'm out of arrows.
Oh, man, my quiver is empty because, well, they probably fell out.
While I was running, they all tipped over.
And I brought 10 to begin with to an alien battle.
I only have so many arrows to work with, guys. I'm really counting on that team support to make me look good.
Nothing can make you look good because you literally carry around arrows, and that's your weapon of choice.
The fox in the Disney movie Robin Hood was more skilled.
Mm-hmm. And I think Katniss Everdeen, they made that look really cool and all, but you know what? That was in post-apocalyptic world where they didn't have weapons. They kind of had to revert back to the olden days, and you are in modern times with a lot of money, and you are still choosing arrows. I can't stand behind that man. but way to carry Wally around because I'm sure he's not light because he's tall and muscular. So good for you. Yeah, so then Barry does use his smarts and makes Supergirl mad, and there's like a giant rock or something. I don't even remember.
I think he takes her back to the
another warehouse
where the aliens were,
Oh, yeah.
and the device that seems to be controlling them all is
because doesn't Caitlin and Cisco, they're like, oh, there's this energy happening at blah, blah, blah. You should go and destroy something there. I don't know.
I'm going to say yes. That's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
Because that's typically how it happens.
Yeah. And I think that's also because I was like, man, why is Caitlin not helping?
Right. Again, you have power. You've already come to terms with them.
You are very skilled with them in a matter of seconds. So just freeze everybody and be good.
She could have totally done that. She could have frozen everyone. Oh, see, I didn't even think about that until you just said it. Yeah. So stupid.
Freeze everybody. Maybe you would have some issues. Well, you know what? Maybe with Supergirl, I don't know, because she could like laser your coldness. But even then, get Cisco in there. He'll viber, and then I don't know.
Send her through the portal back to her time, and she can wreak havoc there.
Not my Earth, not my problem. Am I right?
What happens on Earth 38 stays on Earth 38. Am I right? Am I right?
He would probably send her to like 20 million different Earths before sending her to the right one anyway. Whoops.
My bad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have the spell being broken on everyone. And just when you think things are about to get back to normal, what happened? But the aliens show up and start to beam me up, Scotty, everybody on the battleground.
I adore you.
And we learn that Barry is also not faster than an alien tractor beam. Because he totally misses his boyfriend Oliver while trying to save him from being sucked up by the alien. And there's, kind of in between all of that, there's this weird coddling again of Wally and scolding him about using his powers. And I'm just like, guys, like clearly this method isn't working.
Yeah.
If you keep trying to like be overprotective of him, he's just going to keep rebelling. I don't understand. Keep trying. It's insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting him to be like, you know what, you're right. I should not use my powers that I've been waiting for. That'll work.
Yeah. That I have literally spent half of these episodes complaining about not having. Yeah. But you know what? I'm good now. Just knowing that I have them is good enough for me.
I'm just going to chill and, use them to get my chores around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.
I wish I could do that. Dang. Again, just want to mop my dang floors and can't. Yeah.
So, but then we have HR who agrees to train Wally, finally, after rejecting him the first time.
Yeah.
And to this I say again, I don't know how that's helpful.
Yeah, but I guess, and I've been wondering, like, is Wally just like trying to get an ally and just kind of saying whatever he wants HR to hear? Because that's kind of what I got.
Meaning,
just kind of like, oh, you like nobody appreciates you the way that like they don't appreciate me, so we could do this together. Like trying to sweet talk them and just just have kind of an ally to so he's not completely alone because everybody's kind of against him doing it. I think Cisco's not really against it, is he? I don't think he is, right? Because they're like, don't make him a suit.
Fairly, I would say probably a bit more neutral than everybody else. I mean, to be honest, he has his own thing going on. He can probably care what Wally does.
That's probably true of Caitlin too. She's like, well,
he can help. I don't know what y'all are all complaining about.
Sure, I'm sure as hell not going to, because it might turn evil.
So then that leaves the episode kind of hanging out in the wind because you are now supposed to transition over to Arrow for the final part.
Sure.
If not the final part, for the next installation of the 4-part cross. And as you all know, we do not watch around these parts, so we have no idea how any of that ended. We're just going to assume everyone was saved. No thanks.
Yeah, because he may or may not have brought the aliens, so
in the first place.
There's that. But
so an okay episode. It's kind of weird to have these like non-consequential, not like there was really nothing in this episode that had anything else to do with the plot dealing with. I mean, you saw bits and pieces of it, like obviously Barry has to come clean about his time travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I forgot we kind of glossed over that in that scene where they were talking about Iris not being a reporter or whatever. He's just like, oh, I changed so much. And Oliver did kind of reaffirm that, yeah, like anybody probably would have done that in your situation, which is probably true. Like I can't, like I said, I've said that I identify with the Flash because I would probably change history just because I thought of a joke that would have been really funny to say to somebody in college. And I, like I had a better comeback for somebody that was a douche to me in college. So I'm going to go back and say it. And so
Right.
I would probably have about way more timelines than for much smaller situations. So I do understand that he did that, so, and then Oliver kind of reaffirmed that with his own story of how he ended up on the island of misfit toys. When his dad, I don't remember,
Dad.
Yeah, his dad killed himself. So because there was like enough food and water for one person. So, yeah. So the Arrow has quite a colorful past, I would say. Get it? Because he's the Green Arrow. Anyway.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. So our next episode is going to be back to just regular Flash plot line. Mid-season finale, which we are still in the works for planning. Sorry about all the delays in getting episodes. The holidays and illness, last minute complications and commitments have kind of thrown us off. We're going to try to get that to everybody by the new year, and we'll have
season premieres again.
Before the season premieres again, yes, definitely. Maybe right before, so that everyone will have a little refresher.
Yeah, and we will figure out how to do this where you guys can see our faces and see our reactions, because I'm sure that they're excellent. Particularly when I'm talking about Iris West.
Yes. Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys, and we'll
see you.
Talk to you next. Talk at you.
Yeah.
Next time. Bye.
Bye.